Hey musicians, in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to play the major scale on guitar. The major scale is the most common scale you can learn. It's used in a lot of music. Learning this scale will also help you learn how to play the minor scale, the blues scale, and so many others. And the concept I'm going to be teaching you will help you understand how to play guitar and understand the fretboard way better. So let's get into the video. Before we get into the major scale, there's a simple concept you have to learn, and it's called half steps and whole steps. So a half step goes from one fret to the direct next fret right next to it. So this is a half step. That's a half step. So it goes from one fret to the direct next fret. That's a half step. And then we have whole steps. What a whole step is made up of two half steps. So a whole step looks like this. If this is a half step, when you're going to the direct next fret, two half steps would be you skipping a fret in between. So one concept you need to understand when learning any scale is that when I say we're going to play in the key of C, for example, that means that we're starting the major scale shape on C. So if we wanted to play in the key of D, that means we're starting the major scale shape on D. And we're following the same whole step and half step concepts that you would play for the major scale. So with your understanding of half steps and whole steps, now I can teach you how to play the major scale. C is the third fret on the A string. And we're going to play it up the A string. So we're going to play the first note, which is C. And the first note to the second note is a whole step. The second note to the third note is a whole step. The third note to the fourth note is a half step. So you're just going from the third note to the direct next fret, which is the fourth note. Then the fourth note to the fifth note is a whole step. The fifth note to the sixth note is a whole step as well. The sixth note to the seventh note is a whole step. Then the seventh note to the first note is a half step. So what you need to understand is that the only half steps in the major scale are between the third and fourth note, and then the seventh and first note. Those are the only two half steps. Everything else is a whole step. So make sure you watch the video over again and make sure you understand the relationships between each note. So you want to be able to play the scale like this. Just like that. And when you've played it like that, you're ready to move on to the next level. All right, so we're gonna go to level 2. I like to call this shape the box shape because it's really easy for beginners to visualize as a box. Let me show you how that looks. So we're gonna go to C because we're playing in the key of C. Then we're gonna play a whole step to the second note. Then we're going to play another whole step to the third note. So from the first note, those are all whole steps. Then we're going to go to the next string, the third fret on the next string, which is the D string. And we're going to play the exact same thing. So from the fourth note, whole step, whole step. So for the G string, we're going to go to the fourth fret. And then the seventh note to the first note is always a half step apart. So you just finish the scale. And the reason why it looks like a box is because of the first 6 notes. They're all a whole step apart. So it looks like a box. And then you have the 7th to the first note, of course, which is a half step. So this shape for the scale is going to be based on your fingers. So you're going to use your first finger to cover all the notes on the 2nd fret. You're going to use your second finger to cover all the notes on the 3rd fret. You're going to use your third finger to cover all the notes on the 4th fret. You're going to use your pinky to cover all the notes on the 5th fret. So we're playing in the key of C. So that's going to be covered by your second finger, the note C. Then we're going to play a whole step up. So we're going to play the second note with your pinky. So the first note with your second finger, the second note with your pinky finger. Then you're going to go to the next string, and the third note is going to be on the 2nd fret of the D string. So you're going to play that with your first finger. So just those 3 notes. Second finger, pinky finger, next string, and then you're going to play with your pointer finger. And if you learned it well, you'll understand that the 3rd note and the 4th note are always a half step apart. So you're just going to play your first finger, then your second finger. Then from the 4th note to the 5th note, it's a whole step apart. So you're going to play that with your pinky finger. Then you're going to go to the next string and you're going to play the 6th note with your first finger on the 2nd fret. This is a G string. Then the 6th note to the 7th note is a whole step. So you want to play a whole step. And then the 7th note to the first note is always a half step. So you're going to play that with your ring finger and pinky. So 2nd finger, 4th finger, next string, you're going to go to the first finger, 2nd finger, 4th finger. Then you're going to go to the next string, first finger, 3rd finger, then 4th finger. And all the scales that you learned, You want to make sure you can play them up, so ascending, and you want to make sure you can play them descending so that you really understand the concept. That's the major scale, guys. See you in the next video where I'll be teaching you how to play the minor scale.